Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Apostolic Children's Ministry Podcast. It has been a little bit since we have put out one of these, and especially in this format, because we are back in the high school class, and it's after church, and it's late, and this is kind of how we roll. So, well, I have myself, and to my left,
Trystan.
We have Trystan. She is here. She's now in the girls' class, the 10 to 11 girls' class. Kicked her out of super class. We just couldn't take it anymore. I'm kidding.
They were glad. They made the whole class just to put me in there.
We actually created that class to get rid of her.
That makes sense. That's why they sent me and Natalia. So
I just left entirely.
Well, and that surprise is not a surprise. We have
Natalia.
And Natalia's here. And we haven't actually seen her face in Sunday school for a little bit. She has, goodness gracious, school and life and all kinds of stuff that have crept up. So she's taking a breather. And then we have Brianna Hinckley, who has the mics about 6 feet from her face. So
sorry.
Oh, there she is. Okay, she's back. But we're going to do some catching up. We'll talk about our HarvestFest. Do a curriculum update and just see kind of where the conversation takes us. But let's start with HarvestFest. It's one of our big events of the year.
Yeah.
And for us, as far as raw numbers on the church property, it's the biggest event.
Yeah.
And so let's just kind of walk our way through it. I guess I better explain for those that don't have any clue what this is. October 31st. We give a safe, family-friendly alternative to Halloween, and we do it on the church property. It is HarvestFest, and it is not just candy and fun and games and pony rides, although we do all of that. True. It's a huge event, but we teach Sunday school for 3 hours straight on that stage, and it's a lot of fun, especially to see people that you can tell are completely unchurched, have no background in anything church, at least as far as visually, like you don't see it. And they're there having a great time watching the science experiments and all that, and then realizing at the end that we're slapping them with truth. Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah. It's really cool. So let's just kind of walk our way through it. What are some highlights from HarvestFest? Not necessarily just the Sunday school stage, but just the whole event.
Well, this was actually the first year I've personally brought bus kids to HarvestFest.
You brought a lot.
Yes, we were very... Honestly, I didn't even know we were...
Now, they come every year.
Yeah, but they usually...
Many of them, but they
come on their own.
Exactly.
This is the first time I've ever went and, we've taken a vehicle, picked up kids, and come back. So, I wasn't even actually planning on it. I was like, there's no way we're going to be able to... the parents never come. We have one parent that comes pretty often, but usually, this kind of stuff, she's more, iffy on it. So, I was like, I'm just not going to worry about it. But then I got a text from Jose, and he was like, oh, so when are we leaving to go pick up bus kids?
Jose is a worker on the same route. And
I was like, what do you mean we're not picking up bus kids? He was like, oh, I thought we were. And I was like, no, we're not. And then he was like, do you think we can? And I was like, well, I can ask Brother Julian to make sure that we have, a vehicle. I was like, because I'm willing. I'm going to be at the church all day anyway, so why not? So we got to figure out with Brother Julian. He was like, how many kids? And I was like, well, it'll probably be 10 kids, if that. Because we have one family that has about 6 kids, and then the mom, so maybe 10. And then we pull up, and we get that one family, and then another kid wants to come, and the mom agrees to also watch that other kid. So we're like, okay, we have a little bit more. And then a family that never comes. They haven't come in probably 3 months, maybe more. And they were actually walking out to go trick-or-treating at, their little apartment complex. And they were like, oh, where are you guys going? We're like, oh, we're picking them up for HarvestFest. And can we come? And we're like, okay, guys. I'm like, I'm going to be at the stage the entire day, for the whole night. I'm not going to be able to watch anyone. And then most of my workers were either, first or second shift. But then they said, okay, Jose said, I'll watch him first shift. And then Danny said he would watch him second shift. Danny's another worker on our route. So we ended up bringing 16 kids and a 15-passenger.
Wow.
And so we had all the kids,
CHP, if you're listening, that did not actually happen.
We had we had 16 on a 25.
It may have actually.
I've never.
We just admitted an infraction on the air. I was not driving.
For the Lord.
There was 6. There was seat belts for
And don't even go there. Just move it along.
Will the raw and unedited part remain?
Now we're buckled in.
The short version is that you brought 16 kids
16
to
kids.
Harvest, which is awesome, and that's a good
That's
20-minute trip
incredible.
each
Yeah,
way.
about 20-25 depending on like traffic and stuff.
It was awesome. So that event, we have had a total of 2,932 people show up
So cool.
for the event. We have 27 game booths, a farmer for a day area, where they pick vegetables, milk cows, and just become little farmers, and then sell the produce back and get candy for it. There is a mechanical bull. There are pony rides. The Walker Church from Yucaipa provided that, as well as a shaved ice trailer. I think there's
awesome.
8. They're the best people ever.
Yeah.
8 food booths, the Sunday school stage, a game stage, inflatables. There's a lot going on.
Oh, and the new hang time game. That one was really cool. There seemed to be a lot of people that liked it.
Yeah, just one of those, grab onto the bar and see how long you can hang. For some reason, people think that's fun. It sounds like purgatory to me.
You know who's surprisingly good at it? Lincoln. He
Yeah, my
hung for
3-year-old,
so long.
he's weirdly good at it. Yeah.
3-year-olds have
He's a
like
freak.
He hung there longer than me and my dad
unreasonable amount
could.
of strength in their
I
bodies.
hang.
Yes.
That's saying
Yeah,
a lot
okay,
for me.
yeah.
I can hang from a bar for maybe, I don't know, as long as.
I did not try it. I was not
Even-
going to embarrass
Okay,
myself.
it was like 3 seconds. That's all I got.
Even,
All right.
even Uncle Joel
But you
tried it,
did
and
it.
Lincoln lasted longer than Uncle Joel.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
To be fair, Lincoln's like 10 pounds. So
Yes.
He also has a little twig on.
This is true. So it's a really cool event, and at the Sunday school stage, because obviously we know Harvest Fest is generally the parents are there for the
Yeah.
kids. It's rare to see an adult walking around by themselves getting candy.
Yes.
It's a child friendly event,
Sure.
and so there it's a perfect funnel to get them into Sunday school.
Yeah.
So that whole Sunday school stage is there to capture the attention of families, and then the whole time we're teaching, we're telling them, hey, you need to. Come Sunday mornings, we do this every Sunday from 10 to 11. We'll send
Yeah.
out buses and pick you up. And then we have a big Sunday school booth. Why don't you tell us about that, Bree, because that's you and Liz's brainchild.
Oh man, it was so good this year. Like I feel like every year we just kind of keep getting better and better. But Liz is such a gem to work with, and she has such a good organizational brain, and she has fantastic ideas, and her and I just, I don't know, we just work really well together, and I'm so grateful for her. But
We're trying to get Bree's mic closer. There we go.
I feel so loud. I
There you
cannot
go.
hear
Good.
myself.
Loud is good.
You know how quiet she is normally.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the loudest person in the room. Apparently,
Agreed.
that's not true.
No, that's agreed. No, I agree.
I'm going to turn your headphones down so you think you're quieter than you are.
That might be better. Okay, I think that was it. Anyway, so this year we really wanted to match the theme of the Sunday school stage, which is like a science.
Yeah, so the whole
Barn?
event is Western, but the stage, we call it the Science Barn. So we decorate it up as a barn and
Stuck a giant beaker.
Throw in some
science,
science
hence
stuff.
Science Barn.
2 giant beakers in front of a barn.
Best of both, really.
Yeah.
That's right, and hay bales.
Yeah. And so the last couple of years we've kind of done a different theme or decoration theme for the booth itself to make it kind of stand out. But this year we really wanted to kind of mush with the rest of Sunday school. So this year we really just kind of brought out the science aspect of it. So we had these wired racks in the back of our booth, and we had like beakers, and we had bowls full of like colorful liquid, and we brought dry ice and put them in it so it like bubbled over and looked all sciencey and cool.
I think my favorite part was the random puppets doing gymnastics.
Yes, so it was really
That was Super
neat.
Freddy, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Super Fred.
He got
There was
himself
one.
in trouble.
He was
And then-
stealing the vial.
Yeah. Then there was a cow inside of a bowl, and
yeah.
then
Super Freddy was vile.
He was.
Yeah.
That's why he was
That's
stuck
true.
there.
yeah, there was a cow in a bowl, and then a bunny.
There was
Oh,
a bunny with
yeah.
glasses, and then there was a giant snake on the bottom. You know, as normal Sunday school things have.
Yay.
Super Freddy's one of our puppets in Sunday school, by the way.
Can we?
He's really professional, really quiet.
Yeah. So if there's somebody who knows how to do a Super Freddy voice, if we could just hear that real quick.
We'll have to see if he comes by.
We'll have to see.
But so
Make a
the
guest
booth is
appearance.
mainly, its main draw is balloons. So we do
Yes,
a lot of
animal
balloons.
balloons.
There
Any
was
guesses how many guys tied?
Oh, my
with
word.
My
3,000
mom had
people there.
blisters
I
by the
think
end.
we went through 2 boxes of the ones you bought, so around
Those are
800
800.
balloons or so.
That's wild.
This year, we decided to get a little smarter and only offer like 5 options instead of having the kids pick like, I want a T-Rex.
Okay, but this is funny. we wanted to speed up the process. And so we're like, okay, what do we have to buy to make this process smoother? And so we bought these electric pumps for the booth where you just stick the balloon on, blows it up, and it saves us all that pumping and passing around the balloon pumps and all that. And we just neglected one little part, which is testing them.
Oh, none of them worked?
Yeah, they're not strong enough to blow up a twisting balloon. Apparently, they're for big fat balloons, I guess, because they sure don't work for those.
Yeah.
Nope.
They just kind of sit there and like.
The wind power was
laughed at
insufficient
us.
for what we needed.
So we had to a mad scramble to find
We
balloons.
robbed the buses.
Oh, we ransacked
Did you guys get
Yeah,
one
we
from ours?
missed ours.
I'm sure we did. We still have a box, so if you were missing one, we know
No, I
where
know,
it
I'm
is.
We're
saying we
really
have
sorry,
two in
but
our
it was
bus
frantic. So
I don't know.
We missed yours. You got lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know who got them, but I'm grateful.
Danny, little
Yeah.
Danny.
Thank
Well, you know
little
what?
Danny.
Oh, then that's probably why I didn't leave our bus.
Oh, he saved his bus.
Saved it.
All right, little
You know what we
Danny.
need to do
where-
next year?
Bus.
We need to get them like a utility belt with like space for them so they're not all reaching over each other.
For the record, we were not going to have any balloon pumps except
That's
the
true.
electric
Well, I'm
ones
just
in
saying,
front
like
of
they
us.
can have like the pocket full. They can have like how you on your old suit jacket used to have the places
need to
with
make-
different color
They had all
balloons.
the balloons in the buckets, all the colored
But
balloons.
then
They
you
had
have to
them
reach
sorted.
over each other, and then you can have people like standing out. They don't have to all be behind that one table.
True, but actually it worked out so well this year because we did run into a bunch of problems like that. So what Liz and I did is we color coordinated the balloons into different buckets,
Yeah.
and we had one set on one table because we had two tables that made like an L shape.
Yeah.
So we had a set of colors on one table and a set on another.
Oh, yeah.
And that way people can have options where they were at. So there wasn't like crossing over and like fumbling over everybody. What was really cool though is usually we have one giant line that people stand in for our booth.
Yeah.
So this year we're like, okay, well, we'll have like 4 different lines going on.
yeah.
And we really didn't have more than like 5 to 8 people in one line. And that was
That's
a
really good.
significant help.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah, it
and-
worked out really well. When I went, there was never that ridiculous line like there
Yes.
was last year because you guys were plowing through them. How many people did you have making balloons at any one time?
I think it was an average of 4.
4? Okay.
For sure 4, because we could have 2 at each table.
I
so
saw
that
quite
helped.
a few.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's that? You made it a lot?
I saw.
okay.
I didn't actually make any because I was.
Well, you figure 3,000
avoiding
people,
it.
800 balloons, that's a decent percentage of
It's
people
really,
that got
yeah,
them.
it's really good. And
That's a
not
lot of
everybody
balloons.
like gets a balloon, or sometimes it's just one, or
Yeah.
whatever the case is. But it, like Brother Phillip said, it's really a big outreach program for us because
Yeah.
that's where we hand out like our information flyers. We tell the parents more like, hey, if you like this, we do stuff like this every Sunday.
We have our big map with all
Having
the
that
different
map
routes.
It's
Yeah.
so crazy. Like seeing how much versus like how little like different routes cover. Like our
Yeah.
route is just a little square, but all of our kids are so concentrated on just one street that's
Well,
like
it just shows you how big this area
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Like-
we could conceivably, if we had the manpower, we could do 50 buses in this
Yeah.
area and not touch them all.
Yeah.
It's
because
crazy.
yellow is so wide because they would go like they do so much back and
They have
forth
a
and,
wide range, yeah.
and with all of our different like daughter works, if we did just around our church and they did just around their church, we probably wouldn't even touch each other.
Yeah, we're
really
we're
wouldn't.
working on ideas like that, but yeah, it's a very densely populated
Yeah.
area. So we are in Southern California, and the area we're in is I think the 11th largest metroplex in the United States. So it's very densely populated. I think there's how many million people around here? Is it 4 million
I
in the
don't
Inland
know.
Empire? I think something like that. It's
ton.
very
it's a big number.
very
though.
dense.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people we can pick up, and so that's how we're able to get so many people to our Harvest Fest.
It's so neat. A couple of really cool stories, though, is I remember specifically for me, one of the families that I interacted with. I think the mom was asking questions on like, do you guys still do Sunday school, or like, do you know so and so? And we're like, yeah. And she was like, oh well, I used to come as a kid. And I was like,
No
whoa.
way.
I know, it was just so neat. So like, we never know who's coming back. Like
Yeah.
they hadn't been here for years and years, but
That's
they
crazy.
remember Sunday school, and they remember certain things that they saw at our booth or what was on stage and stuff.
Oh, wow.
It was just so cool. So you just never know what you're
Yeah.
going to be doing.
That's cool.
Nicole Rouse gave me a picture of a lady that came in. She said, this is my first time at Harvest Fest. And so they told her a little bit about it. And she said, well, it's not my first time to the church, though. She said, do you guys still run your buses and go to Sunday and have Sunday school? And she said, yeah. She said, well, she's now in her 20s and she has kids of her own that she brought. She said, I was one of your kids on your bus.
No way.
Yeah, so I don't know how long ago that was, but probably
That's
10 years ago. She was one of them riding.
Would it have been when you were on a bus, or was it before?
It's hard to know. I didn't recognize her face.
Oh, wow. That's
yeah,
incredible.
but it's pretty incredible.
The thing, one really cool thing that I noticed when we were doing, like, actually at the stage, was, it was, I don't know if it was the first or the second time we did the mathemagic thing, where you add and it all comes up to the same number. And I remember you asked these two ladies, and you just asked them for a number, and you're like, do you feel like this is random? And they were like, I do not believe you. I don't believe a thing you say. Like, you could tell they thought you were just talking nonsense. And then when you had, I don't remember.
To be fair, I was.
Yeah. But
That was
when
the goal.
you had somebody, I don't know if it was, I don't know if it was the first or second time, but when the person pulled the number out and flipped it around, and you had one of that lady, like, calculate it, the look on her face was just pure shock. And then when you turned it into, like, that, like, God knows everything. He didn't, like, this isn't just random. Her face, like, I'll never forget the look on her face. She was just like, whoa. Like, it was like just the look of, like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a lot of fun. Like you said, they're there for the entertainment. They're there for the fun.
Yeah.
And so you're doing a cool Christian illusion. We call it Christian illusion instead of magic. But at the end, when we do the reveal, they are like, wow, that was so cool. And then you like I said, you hit them with the truth, and you tie it into the Bible, and they're hooked at that point. And it's cool. You'll see some of the same faces for hours, just kind of floating around the stage because they're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it's not just kids; it's a lot of adults that stick
Yeah,
around.
because there's always the adults that just stand around the back, like
The
while the
massive
kids are in the
candy
middle.
rains too.
Oh yeah, that
And
last
fatty.
candy rain was wild.
They always are. But Bob Lee gave a short testimony in the teacher meeting right after Harvest, and he said one of his coworkers that he didn't even invite was at HarvestFest. He invited. I think he said his boss, and his boss invited her,
Oh, okay.
which is funny.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but she showed up. And so he saw her in the crowd while he was, I don't know if he was doing the lesson or if somebody else was, but he saw her out there. So later he asked her, he said, hey, how was it? Did you have a good time? She said, yes. She said something to the effect of those lessons were so great. She said, I've been
Wow.
thinking about them ever since.
Wow.
So it's effective. It's not just about handing out candy. We're actually connecting with people and bringing them back. And we have, oh my goodness, so many people that come to service as a result of HarvestFest. Happens
Yeah.
all the time. And we collected 170 something names, phone numbers, and addresses.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And we've been calling them ever since.
That's
so
so
each one of those
cool.
represents a family.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we've been contacting
Wow.
them through the
That's
phone
That's
call
so
team.
many people.
Yep, it's
Like,
pretty
Harvest
exciting.
Fest has kind of become a thing that if you want people to know who you are, you're like, hey, we're
yeah.
the church that does Harvest Fest.
Yeah.
Or even if they don't know the name, you're just like, hey, on every year on Halloween, we always have that really big thing out in the grass area, and they're like, oh, you're that church. Like if you're on outreach and stuff.
Major name
Yeah.
recognition.
Yeah.
I remember all I had, I think it was last year, all I had was Harvest Fest flyers. And I went on outreach and I was like, okay, well, this is literally all I have. So I remember I was just like, this is the info on the back. And they flipped it over and they were like, I know where you're from. And I was like, well,
funny.
yeah, I guess. But I guess it was kind of
Just left over from Harvest Fest or before Harvest Fest?
left over from.
Oh, man.
That's why I was like, this is the info. I was like, you can like take down the info because she was like really interested. But I was like, you can just like take down the info or something. And so she ended up flipping it over. And that's when I was like,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's like, but we have that too next year.
Like,
And
it's about.
God was so good to us with the weather.
Oh,
There
it was
was
amazing.
no wind. Oh.
Even setting up, the wind
Everybody
was
listening
so
to us
slow.
are like, what is their problem, their fixation with wind? If you lived here,
It's bad.
you would understand.
Trees
This
fall
time
over.
of year is
Trees,
it's
semis,
called the
people.
Santa Ana winds. They come through the
Horrible.
mountain pass, and we are in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And it's
Smack in the
inevitable.
middle.
The week of harvest, we get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just give you an example. I'm going to do this super quick, but we had 10 easy ups several years ago. They were zip tied together. They had bales of hay on the bottom of every post. So I don't know how many pounds that is.
Yeah.
Many.
And it wasn't a zip tie. We're talking hundreds of zip ties holding this together with stakes, probably 3-foot long stakes on every post. This thing was never coming out. I think one of us was fool enough to say that. That thing ain't going nowhere.
no.
Oh, no. Titanic last words.
And I remember that phrase as I was in the wash in the ditch behind the church. pulling those 10 easy ups out of the stream back there. It had thrown it 50 feet, all still tied together.
Wow.
Over the fence, ripped the stakes out,
Yeah.
threw the bales of hay like they were nothing, and whipped them over the fence.
So bad.
So casually that it was horrifying.
Yeah, it's so honestly the winds. And it's like just for the week of Harvest Fest. Usually it's like so much worse than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff's just flying. Like you cannot set down.
You can't set a game up. You can't set a backdrop up. You can't do anything. But
If you put-
somehow God always allows us to still have Harvest Fest.
It's at like
Yeah.
It's like at 5 p.m. He's like, let's turn the switch off.
yeah, and it like
Yeah.
it
Yes.
dies. Like there's no wind, or there's like a slight breeze that's
Right.
just a great breeze.
And harvest is perfect, but that anxiety for the week before and trying
Yeah.
to set up is so
Yes.
frustrating. But this year, the first year in my memory was
Wow.
perfect weather.
Yeah.
The entire, I mean, we're talking like
It was.
what,
Until
3
like
or
the
4
week
weeks?
after, right?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Like, when we were even just setting up like the little flags that go over like the handicap things, like just that
Yeah.
stand up, it was only like 8-mile-an-hour winds, and that was like a couple days before when we were just doing little setups.
So if you live
So
somewhere and you don't have wind, please don't take that for granted. You need to thank God every day,
Yes, every day.
or at least on Harvest Fest, that you don't have wind because
Yes.
we just
Wind is the worst.
Yeah.
It really is
I
bad
dream
wind.
of a
It
day.
really is.
I dream of a day that you'll see. This is real. You'll see semis flipped over on the
Yeah,
freeways.
semis
No,
flipped
it's
over,
true.
All around
trees,
here. Like,
trees
that's how
ripped
bad it
out.
Yes.
of their-
30-year-old trees.
Yeah, like with super deep roots, they're just flipped over onto people's houses. It's
People's
like,
cars.
Yeah, it's so bad.
like an
Dogs
invisible
on
tornado,
roofs.
really.
Not really.
Wait, what?
I'm lying. But
I'm
it's
actually
bad.
surprised I was
It could.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great Harvest Fest, and we've had people visit since then, and even before. In fact, a week before Harvest, there was a family that came and said, "We're about to come to Harvest, and we didn't want to come to Harvest without at least attending the church."
Oh, that's
It was pretty
cool.
cool. So
That's neat.
Yeah, it's a neat outreach. Anything else we want to talk about on that before we move on?
I wasn't in the Sunday school booth, but
Oh, you did game stage.
yes.
Oh, cool.
But it was really cool seeing all the people. We were right by the entrance.
Yeah.
All the people as they came in. We had the whatever is it called? The Daughter Works set up like right next to it and stuff. So
that's
just seeing all the people
good.
walk in is so cool.
Yeah, that's
Neat.
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's our ministry's booth. And so the footprint of the event is huge. And when you're walking around before everybody gets there, it feels like just so spacious.
Yes.
And you almost think, how could this ever be full?
Yeah.
well,
Then you're like,
And then the
where's
event
room?
happens. And you are literally like
and
trying to
then-
turn sideways to fit
was-
between
Yeah.
the crowds.
And the thing is, it's so cold. Like it gets cold outside. Obviously, like California cold, not like
Yeah.
actual cold.
we need to preface
This
that.
is like
cold
like-
to
like
us
60 degrees.
is
Yeah.
50s.
Yeah.
So when it gets California cold, and so you're
Everybody
like,
out there is cracking up right
yeah.
now.
I know.
These sheltered people. We get wind though.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And earthquakes, but
yeah.
they're like,
Yeah. So, but I-
Earthquake and winds, but it doesn't get cold.
Yeah. So I just remember it was like like cold for us, and so like I'm expecting like like after I get off the bus, I'm like, okay, it's cold, and I'm walking, and I'm like, oh, it's so cold, and then I like walk through instantly, like it's so hot, and then when I like went up on like the stage, it was like the first time I could like actually stretch my arms out and stuff. It just felt great.
It was so good though. Such a
It
good
really was.
turnout.
So that Sunday school stage, we have it 3 hours. The whole event is 3 hours from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. And the stage is kind of the focal point. It's at least where the announcements are made from, giveaways are made from, candy rains are made from there. So it's got a lot of focus on it. And we really lit it up
Yeah,
this year. We had
this
two
is
massive
so bright.
floodlights that really made it
Oh,
pop.
yeah.
So bright.
But I said that for a reason. Oh, okay. So that's the focal point is, so we got to always have something exciting going on. We can't have any dead time. And so it's cool to have all of our Sunday school teachers. We ask them ahead of time who wants to take part in the teaching.
Yeah.
And then we assign them to different parts. So we'll say, okay, you're from 6 p.m. until 6:15 p.m. You're from 6:15 until 6:30. So everybody has like a 15-minute chunk, and they just come up with whatever object lessons.
And it goes by so fast.
really
Oh my
does.
word!
Okay.
It flies.
So
This was
fast.
my first time actually being on the Sunday school stage.
Oh, really?
I've usually been on the game stage with Tally. And I literally, like, the first time I looked at the clock, and it was already, like, 7:30. And I was
How
like,
many did I prep? And I knew we would
We
have
prepped
more than
like-
You
we
had
needed.
like 6
Yeah,
prepped, I think.
5 or
just
6.
But
in
we
case.
knew we know how fast it goes, but
Yes.
I also the worst thing in the world is having time and nothing
Just
to fill
standing
it
up
with.
there.
Right.
So
So I think I had 4 or 5 that were like we were ready.
Yeah.
And then I had a couple more that were like I could pull out if I had to.
Yeah.
We did 2
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
because it's fun because you can like really interact with the audience and get them involved
then
with it.
because
We're
we
not
did-
dragging it out to drag it out, but people
Yeah.
are they're
Right.
having
Because
a
we
good
did the
time.
math one twice. I think
Oh,
the
yeah.
second time that's all we did was the math one.
Yeah. What was the other one?
It was
we did?
math
The first one.
and
Oh, the bottles.
yes, multiplying bottles.
The pineapple juice.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did, so like for the math one, basically like all the people that were there, I noticed a couple people that were like the same, and like it's crazy how like shocked they are, even though they've already seen it and like they already know that we just got the same number the first time.
Surely this won't
So
happen a second.
I'm not going to waste time
remember you
explaining this,
yelling
but basically
me.
you're polling the audience for random numbers, and they really are giving you random as they can.
He
But I
just
tell
kept
them ahead of
yelling at
time
me.
that I'm reading their minds, and I'm planting numbers for them to feed me and whatever. It's all
Yeah.
just nonsense, whatever.
Hullabaloo.
Yeah. But at the end, I do come up with their numbers. We come up with
Yeah.
a number that we have put in an envelope and sealed hours before, and there's no way I could have written that.
And we give it to somebody beforehand,
Someone
like so
in the
they're
audience, I don't
holding
know.
it the whole time.
So it's a really cool object lesson. But Pastor reminded me how I did it the first year. I totally forgot I did this. So I had the same thing with the envelope, handed it to somebody. Well, they opened it, and it's the wrong number. And he's like, oh, no, they messed up. Well, it was a plan. I did it on purpose.
Oh, I was
And
like,
then, well, I forgot that I had done this, though. And so, I mean, that year I didn't forget. I forgot this year. He reminded me.
Oh, I was like,
So I pull it out, and he was sitting in the back, and he goes, he messed up. He blew it. Well, then I took my coat off. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. And I turned around,
Oh, and
and
it
it's
was on the
written on
back
my
of your
back.
chest.
Yeah.
That would actually be crazy.
Yes, the right number was written on my back. I totally forgot I did that.
Okay, I feel like we need to
Do that next year.
Yeah,
or
we'll have
even
to.
just for Sunday school. Because honestly, when was the last time we did that in Sunday school?
I don't know. There's a lot.
I feel like I know I haven't been to class where it's been done.
It's
so.
very high pressure when the person who's asking you to choose a number keeps screaming a different number at you.
Yes. Okay. I kept on getting screamed at during that by him
Well,
because my mic was squealing. But he told me to go
she
out.
kept going in front
He
of the
kept
speaker.
telling me. He told me before, go out and like can't give the mic to people so they can like pick the
You
thing.
know those mics have an off switch? I don't know if anybody had heard of those
The
things.
thing is, it was my head mic,
Oh,
and you
no.
would be talking to me, so I'd reply, and it started squeaking as soon as I turned it on.
I don't remember talking to you at the moment. Anyway, whatever. But we went. We would have 50 minutes of object lessons, and then we would do 5 minutes of song.
Yes.
And then we would do a 5-minute
We
candy
did
rain.
some great songs. I'm gonna be honest. We
I
did
was-
some
Yeah,
good songs.
They were bangers.
Dancing in the booth, and I was like, I'm so
Yes.
mad I can't be over there right now.
It was so good. We
We hand out over 1,000 pounds of candy that
Yes.
night, and that last, the last hour, we ended up giving out five-gallon buckets of
Yeah,
candy.
Something like that.
And so we tell them the more you
yeah.
sing, the harder you participate. That's going to bring another bucket.
Oh, yeah.
So while they're singing,
We had
I'd be
a ton of
like,
buckets.
"Did they earn a bucket?" And I'd bring one
Oh,
out.
I
and then
remember.
the next chorus. I'd
That
go,
was
"Come on,
actually
guys,
really
sing
good.
loud! I'll bring you another bucket."
What
so we
did
ended up
help
with
with
5.
that. I
Yeah.
went and gathered a lot of buckets.
Well,
from
yeah.
people
Did you
who
really?
look
Okay, so
anyway.
because we had only one bucket behind the stage.
They were all
I had 'em hidden.
They were all
Okay,
hidden.
I didn't know that, and so I'm
Oh.
like, Tally, we got to go like ask the booth if they have like because we had only like
We should have
10
done that. We did it anyway.
So there's
Like,
yeah.
70 buckets of candy that we give out, 75-gallon buckets. Every year we stock the extra because we always have about
Yeah.
10 extra, and we put them behind the Sunday school stage. The problem is people have caught on.
Oh.
The people in
Mm-hmm.
our church that work a booth. And so what happens is they give out candy too aggressively sometimes, and they realize, I'm running out too soon. I need candy to give to the next people. Well, we try to tell them, really pace yourself. If you run
Yeah.
out of that bucket, you're toast. Well, they've realized they have more back there, and so they'll sneak back and grab a bucket and
Yeah.
walk off with it without telling us.
Oh,
So when it's time for the candy rain, we don't have any candy.
Yeah.
And so I told Logan, I said, listen, we are going to go hide 7 buckets before the night even started. So we did. We went and like buried them in a closet. Like,
Yeah.
They dug a hole.
we did. And we hid them in there. And so that's why you freaked out because we
I
had
did
hidden
like
those.
3 buckets
Yeah.
worth out in the booth.
So the
Good for
cool
you.
thing was, even after that, a lot of the booths still don't finish their candy. So as we're throwing it,
It's feast or famine. These people either have too much candy
yeah.
or they're
So the thing is,
It's true.
like we
begging and borrowing for more
So
to hand
we-
It's
out.
hard to gauge, I think.
So we took it, and so Tally took a lot of it, And then we're throwing them, and I see people walking out of their booths with still buckets of candy, and then they're adding to the candy rain. And I'm
that's cool, though.
Yeah, that
That's
was
good.
cool. But I was like, how do you
Participation.
still have candy? You said you. What?
It's such a mosh pit.
Yeah.
Okay, give me an estimate. I'm really bad. I always over exaggerate. At that last candy rain, how many people do you think were probably in that crowd?
Definitely over 100.
Oh,
I'd say
for
like
sure.
300 or 400.
I would
Probably
I would have said
400.
200 to 300.
Well, okay,
but
400. I would say even with the people who were surrounding the people in the
Yeah.
back.
all I know is that it's a sea of people
Yeah.
from the stage.
It was.
as far as you can throw. Like I mean,
Buckets
to
in
the
the back.
extent of your throwing
Yeah.
arm, they're out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we have to make these announcements before we start. Here's the ground rules: don't hurt anybody, don't step on anybody,
Yeah.
especially the kids. Don't crowd them. Give them their room.
Right.
Yeah, if you see someone
can't
smaller
get to
than
candy,
you-
hand them candy.
Yeah.
Come
You
on,
see
we're-
someone small, you go
Share.
for going for candy. Don't steal it from
we
them.
really make that
Right.
a big deal. And then we tell them, if you're in the back, don't worry. We got people back there too. So we were throwing from the stage, and we had people standing at
Yeah.
the back of the crowd
Yeah.
throwing
Back
candy
people.
in as well.
Yeah.
And then we have someone, usually me, I'll just kind of wait and I'll watch to see if there's anybody like not getting their
Yeah.
share, and I'll just kind of fill their bucket a little bit. So-
Or he'll be like, over there. Like he'll say, if you guys don't have candy, like raise your hands. So like
and
they
then
would
you
be
see
like,
some kid with like a 30-gallon trash bag completely full. I don't have nothing. Yeah,
I got
whatever, kid.
skipped.
yeah, and you're like, okay, you just stole one of the 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah. He's either carrying candy or his brother in that trash bag. I don't know
And
what.
we
Maybe
haven't
both.
figured it out still.
But it's a super cool event, and the cleanup, it was brutal. We were there. We were at the church till 1 a.m.
That's crazy.
putting stuff away. But that's
By
just,
the time I got back from bus, it's like, so it's like 20 minutes away. So it's like a 50-minute round trip to get all the kids and stuff, maybe an hour, depending on
Yeah.
how long it takes the kids actually to get to their houses. And so we get back, and HarvestFest is gone. I was like, what in the world? And so there's like little piles of stuff. So I walk over to Logan, and I'm like, what do I do? He's like, there's no girl work. I was like, oh,
There's no
Did he
girl
really?
work.
I was like, what?
That's funny.
he's nicer than me. I would have said, get on board, girl.
Yeah, because
Or grabbing bales of hay.
They were all like loading, and I was like, "Are you sure there's nothing?" He was like, "No girl work. We just gotta." And Trenton walks up and goes, "We just gotta lift heavy stuff. You can go." I was like,
Might
okay.
as well.
You're
like,
very
you don't
lucky
want my
you didn't
help.
walk up to my truck. I
Yeah,
would have
no,
said,
'cause
jump in.
I asked where you were, and he was like, "He's down there," and I was like, "I don't want to walk all the way down there. What can I do?"
I was at the container telling them where to
Yeah.
put it.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, great event.
That was a great.
I went home
Those are
early.
great.
We do got to shift gears. That was 32 minutes.
minutes.
I hope you
Yay.
enjoyed those 32 minutes.
Now,
Enjoy.
to people may be wondering, why do you have such a big turnout? I think there's a combination of things. First of all, the densely populated area. The next thing is that we've done it for a long, long time. This is our
Oh, true.
Yeah.
22nd year of doing it, something like that.
Wow.
So it has built a lot of momentum.
Cool.
At this point, we don't do any advertising. I mean, we do some flyers. We do print flyers.
We used to do like how we do for Easter, where we'd go we'd hit parking lots every Saturday.
They did that this year, but not
Yeah.
every
But it would be
Saturday.
like
it
every
was to
Saturday.
get rid of flyers.
Yeah.
So we're at max capacity, really. We can't really fit any more
Yeah.
bodies, and so we're not really actively marketing. But it has legs of its own, where people that they know where we're at.
Yeah.
So next year we very possibly might be building on the very spot that we're having a Harvest
That's
Fest.
exciting.
Fantastic news
Parking
for the
lot
church.
Harvest Fest.
Not great news for Harvest.
Parking lot Harvest Fest.
Yeah, it's
And then
it's
we
going
have
to be
no parking.
That's
interesting.
where they need to park.
Well,
So with that many people, and we do not have time to talk about all this, but I just got a glimpse, just a little taste of what the parking lot is like. So the parking lot fills up completely full by
Yeah.
10 after 6. Completely, every spot
Yeah.
full. They were parking all the way up and down Bloomington, all the way up and down Cactus. They were walking from 10, 15 minutes away.
it was crazy.
Wow.
But it was now all these people they're not in church, right?
Yeah.
And so they don't treat people like
Yeah.
we expect them to.
Would like to be
so
treated.
let's just say our security had some interesting moments.
What? I would like to hear about these later.
Ruh-roh.
It was bad. Let's just say they hear some things that they shouldn't. A lot of bad words.
So they were there for a reason.
Yeah.
oh no, we have security for a reason.
Yeah.
It
Police.
has to. Yeah.
It must
Yeah.
have.
I remember we
Yeah.
were driving like when
Where
we
there
were
are no oxen, the stalls are clean. And
This is
We have a
our
lot of
stalls
oxen.
are
We have
stalls are
lots of
very
oxen.
dirty.
Anyway, it's a neat event, but yes, with that does come a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Cool.
All right, are we ready to move on?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's just go to talk a little bit about something that we've relatively recently, I think we may have talked about this a little bit, implemented back into our Sunday school is our Sunday morning teacher meetings.
Yeah.
It's something that we know are important and we do place a priority on. However, there was such a high percentage of our Sunday school teachers that were involved in bus ministry that there was nobody left to meet. Literally every single person in Sunday school was on bus. Every single person.
Younger people
we
are.
have a lot of bus workers, new people that have come for Sunday school that are not on bus ministry. And I actually took a step back from bus ministry so I could focus more on Sunday school and especially these teacher meetings because they are important.
Yeah.
It's a time that we can get our some things communicated that there's very difficult to do otherwise. We try to do it through emails and texts and WhatsApp chats, and let's just say it doesn't always communicate as effectively as we would hope. And so these teacher meetings are when everybody's there. Now there are still some on bus, but we record these teacher meetings and then we repopulate them out. And I hope they're getting listened to. I honestly don't even check the views because I don't want to get mad. I'm just going to trust that the teachers actually do
Hey,
what
I
ask.
even listen to them.
Tally, come on, girl.
She gets extra
I'm not
credit for
even a
that.
teacher anymore.
Good for
You're
you.
still a teacher in
You
your
can
heart.
just give
So I
all
put
the
them in
exactly.
WhatsApp. I send them by email. I put them in both WhatsApp chats, even the one that hopefully
He
is not
sends
me.
letters to your
Although I
house.
didn't
Yeah.
listen to the last one.
Well, that was a good one too.
That was a good one.
So we serve breakfast, and it's usually pretty pitiful. I mean, it's like me bringing Pop-Tarts or something stupid.
I think Jen's
Tiny
was
muffins.
pretty
No, hold
impressive.
on.
Wait.
This is leading up to that.
Oh, okay.
and I don't try to bring bad stuff. I just don't know what people want. So I bring stuff I like.
Yes.
And everybody's like, they just stare at it. I'm like, well, that was not great. And so finally I'm like, okay, we're going to fix this. Sent out a survey into the chats and was like, what do you like to eat? And it was something like, bagels, hot breakfast. There's 6 options.
Yeah.
And then one I won't eat it no matter what you bring. And then another one, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine
And
was,
so-
I won't eat it no matter what you bring.
So did Delaney, who's in Georgia.
Well, not anymore.
Oh.
No, she came back last
She's
night.
back.
Skipping church, Delaney.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Just kidding. She's on another time schedule. She's literally
it's
like
3,
she's
it's 3
way
p.m. right now.
exhausted.
yeah.
Oof.
So where are we at?
Oh, we're talking about
Breakfast.
breakfast.
Voting for breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, they gave us some good feedback. Well, Jennifer, in response to the feedback, my wife, she said, "I will cook breakfast," and she did a bang up job.
I
She made these
almost had to
breakfast
stop.
sliders.
I almost had to not go on bus.
They were so good.
Oh,
They
my
were-
word.
These,
To dream for.
yeah, they're just delectable.
I think my bus can do without me.
Well, and so it kicked off something, and so then Liz offered, and Ariana offered, and Bree offered, and I think that was it. Yeah, and so all these people have offered to bring breakfast, and so now it's turning into a big, really nice food thing. And so Liz brought breakfast burritos last Sunday.
Oh, they were
Ooh,
so
we had breakfast
good.
burritos too for
Yay, bus.
for bus.
Ours were better.
No,
No, they weren't.
No, they weren't. No, offense.
Liz's was so good
Did you just
though.
throw Liz's under the bus?
I've never had
Under the
Wow,
bus?
literally. Oh, but
I've never had Liz's before, so I don't know.
They were
Wow,
really
wah,
good.
wah.
You know, well,
It's
if
She
hard
I
to
didn't mean it, Liz, if you're
If-
Chatty,
listening.
so
if I-
breakfast burritos are hard to beat.
if I was given some, I would be able to compare them. But
The tiny violin is playing.
This is
in
the one
back.
time I wish your mic was further from you.
I think you need to hear me louder.
Anyway, so during that teacher meeting, we share what's happening that day, plus what's happening in the weeks to come to kind of keep everybody up to date on the schedule, anything that we need to effectively communicate. And then we have at least 5 minutes, up to 10 minutes, of some sort of training moment, instructional, inspirational, just something that would help our teachers be better teachers.
Yeah.
And that can take many, many forms. But I was trying to think, there's something true. The Bible says that even Jesus had, what does it say? A prophet is not without honor except in his own country. And so sometimes
Yeah.
Jesus couldn't minister because the people were like,
Yeah.
this is just one of us. And so I'm thinking they're probably sick whether they would say it or not, are teachers of hearing the same people over and over again. I try to rotate. It's not just me. I try to rotate through the various teachers. But I was thinking, how can we get some other voices from across the nation here? Because we have such great contacts out there.
Yeah.
So I reached out and got a hold of a few people, and they are recording some stuff to play. In fact, in our last teacher meeting, Brother Jason Ashley played.
The one I
we
still
played
need to
a
listen to.
video from him. It was really,
so
really good.
It was such a timely message, though, too.
It was.
It
Brother
was so
Ashley's
neat.
he's just
I like Brother
so cool to hear
Ashley.
from.
It's cool.
He's very down to earth.
Yes.
He's awesome.
He's definitely a favorite.
And he did our junior camp.
And he's got a good podcast too. Growing Up with Papaw.
He needs to record some more.
He just put them out.
He did? Oh,
There's
I
like
need to go back
3
and
of them
listen.
he just put out.
Okay. I'm going back to listen to that too.
As soon as we get home.
And I
Yes.
cannot
On
say
the way
anything about
home.
people taking a hiatus from podcasts. Here we are, this is our second one in 6 months. So
Yeah.
pretty pitiful.
We're on top of it.
Anyway, those breakfast meetings. They turned
I
into
mean,
that. The teacher meetings are really a neat time to just get everybody on the same page, and then we bought some decent mics and stuff, so we record it and we publish it.
Yeah.
Curriculum. Let's just do a quick curriculum update. We're 40 minutes in, and I think we're getting close to wrapping up.
We haven't even talked about Sunday.
I don't know that we have time.
I think
I
we
don't
have
even know what
about
happened
3
on
hours.
Sunday.
Okay, let's just do a quick curriculum update. If you have lasted this long, God bless you.
I don't know how you did.
He will send you a $5 gift card to Starbucks.
Yes.
Maybe.
So the plan with the new curriculum put out by the WPF is to release it by January 1st. That has been the release date since Summit in September. But I think this is the plan. We're going to confirm this by this weekend. But we're looking to release quarter 1, the first quarter, for sale by December 1st. And a big portion of that thinking is that most churches choose curriculum ahead of the first of the year because they typically would kick it off in January.
Yeah.
And so if you're selling it January 1st, they've never even seen it before.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not going to try an untried curriculum. So
Right.
Yeah.
we're going to put it out December 1st, put some sample stuff on the website so they can get some ideas of what is available. And hopefully we can get this in people's hands by
so
January
cool.
1st.
Oh, that'll be neat.
Quarter 2, though, we do have 12 churches that have already done quarter 1, or they're in the process. What are we on? We're going into 7.
We are on week 7,
Yeah.
yeah. But I know other people are like 3 or 4 weeks ahead of us.
Yeah. And so they're going to be done with quarter 1 by the first of the year. And so that quarter 2 is going to be released on January 1st. And then we have our holiday pack, which is for all the different holidays throughout 2025. That will be available on January 1st as well.
Cool.
That holiday pack looks cool from
It's
what I've
pretty
seen
I'm
of
excited.
it.
Yeah,
Does
it's
it
neat to see
include
all.
Christmas gifts and things?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
What? Okay. You're not very subtle when you whisper into a mic on a podcast.
Need to whisper into the
Yeah. So it's exciting what's happening with the curriculum. It's going to be coming out very soon, and it's going to be available through Kindle Direct Publishing, which means you can order it through Amazon. We'll also make it an announcement through the Together magazine and through the WPF website.
Oh,
And,
Awesome.
Yeah. So we got some
Exciting.
neat stuff happening.
Really cool.
Exciting.
So this last Sunday, we'll just recap this real quick. I've been rotating not just in the main class that I teach in, which is our super class, 5 to 9 years old. I've also been transitioning into the 10, 11 boys, 10 to 11 girls, and soon toddlers even.
Oh, nice.
Just to try to get a feel of what everybody's doing, make sure everybody's on the same page, anyway, that everything's the way it should be. But it's been fun. It really has been, because I got to see different classes I haven't got a snapshot of. Now, the boys class, the 10 to 11, I have been in there. And the 10 to 11 girls, I didn't know what the reception was going to be. And quite frankly, the first time I stepped in there, dude, one of the girls lit me up. She's like, this is a girls class. I mean, she like...
Yeah. And apparently
boys
none of
are-
us
boys are worse.
None of us
That's
other
true.
teachers had any idea that this ever
Yeah, she was very rude. But I was like, you'll be fine. So I was just...
You'll be
Yeah.
fine.
And then the same girl during altar call, after I taught, she
Yeah.
was like bawling her eyes out praying. It was really sweet.
She's like, it's okay.
She just loves her class and
At least you're
defends it with
good
all
at
her heart.
teaching.
Yeah. And that was 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes.
This is the
So I'll
third.
be in there again this week. So I'm doing it like every other
Yeah.
week. And then toddlers will be in.
This last week was really cool. Something we did in the girls' class is where instead of sticking to like the topics that like everyone else is doing, we're doing like a thankfulness series, but it's technically only 2 weeks because he taught the first week. He taught about, I don't know what he taught about. It was about, I don't know, those the weights.
The subject was about forgiveness.
Yeah, forgiveness.
That was the subject of the day.
So that was what he taught about. And then last week, we did a topic of being thankful for the little things and not taking things for granted. Because a lot, like for some of it, we just know, like we felt like thankfulness was like something we need to talk to our girls about. But so we did that. And it was actually really cool. I don't even remember where I got the idea from, but I had to find a lesson this week. And I think it was from you, Dad. And I basically had the girls tell me everything they were thankful for. And they were actually really specific. They were like, shoes, clothes. Like, there's thought of a lot of things, but they didn't think of, like, everyday things. Like,
Air.
Yeah.
Breathing.
So I
Being able
had
to
earlier
move.
that morning had written down everything that I was thankful for. So then I said, is this everything you're thankful for? And they're like, yeah. And so I said, okay, what if I told you everything that you did not write down was just gone tomorrow?
Oh,
What would you do?
well, these are.
And they were
already
like,
more stuff.
Well, we did everything. We said thankful for everything, and then you give them the second list.
Yeah, and so I flip.
This is some of the
So
things
I
you
flip
forgot.
it around, and it's like the ability to walk, my arms and legs, the ability to talk, the ability to breathe, all these different things. And so
Yeah.
then from there,
Food.
yeah,
A church I can go to freely.
yeah, of like a
Yeah.
free country, that kind of thing. So then the girls, one of the girls, I don't remember what exactly they said, but they were like, well, obviously we're thankful for that. And I was like, but I asked you, write down everything I'm thankful for. And that's kind of when I said, so I kind of put the list aside and I just told the girls, I was like, I asked them who all knew about my accident, that kind of thing. And they were like, a couple girls were like, you got hit by a car. What? And I was like, yeah. And so I basically just said, if you had asked me to write down everything I was thankful for, I guarantee you most of this wouldn't have been on my list. Like if you had asked me, I wouldn't have written down the ability to walk, the ability to talk, the ability to breathe, the ability, like my arms and legs, all these different things. And the girls, like, it was like for that class at least, it's really helpful to like more tie in things.
all personal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a personal, especially with like that age and also with the smaller class.
Yeah.
Just to tie in some kind of personal story.
They really grasp the concept.
Yeah, so anytime that we've used that, especially with that one, like the girls remember it more. And they've even like I've had a couple girls just throughout the week been like, "Oh, I remember you told me this."
It's funny because Brother Baker put the Thanksgiving holiday pack lesson today. He had written it a while back, but he forgot to put it in the doc.
Oh, okay.
He put it in, and so I was going through it, and I added just some extra stuff.
Yeah.
And in there, I put that exact lesson.
Oh,
That's so
neato.
cool.
Now, there's 2 twists you can do that I put in there. One is with the dry erase board, and you have all that list that they first give you. You write it with a permanent marker on the whiteboard,
Yeah.
and then you swap it out, with it where they can't tell, with a dry erase marker for all the stuff that they forgot to add. And so you're writing all that. And then you say, what if all the things that you weren't thankful for were gone? And then you wipe it off, and only the
you
dry
should
erase
have
stuff.
told me that before.
Well, the other
that's
way you do
cool.
it is with the heat sensitive pens.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yes.
you use the heat gun.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
do the same concept.
I've
So I
heard
put
those
both of those. in there
Another
as
thing
an
for
option.
thankfulness we're doing is next week. This one's a lot like more simple, but it's still really like kind of profound. So we're giving the girls 3 pieces of paper, and then
They
we're
might
gonna,
listen.
it's okay, they'll hear it. So we're giving them 3 pieces of paper. We're gonna have them write down the 3 most important things in their life, whatever it is, and then we're gonna get a trash can. We're gonna say, okay, ball up one of your things and throw it in the trash. And then they're obviously gonna be like, well, and I'm like, so what if that one thing disappeared? Are you still gonna be thankful for everything else you have? And then we're gonna say, okay, now ball up your second thing, throw it away. Are you still gonna be thankful? And then if this is all you have left, so we're gonna have them write down like the Holy Ghost is their one thing. Are you gonna be thankful if this is all you have left? And then from that point, Sarah and Eric
Tell
are
the
gonna
story
take it
of
over.
Job at that point.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. So Sarah and Eric are gonna take it away from that point. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's neat.
basically
That's a good idea.
yeah. So, because the thing is, we had a lot of like thankfulness lessons. But we're like, we only have one Sunday that we're talking really about
Yeah.
like thankfulness, and so we were like, this is
Like thankful in spite of.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thankful in spite of everything, and then thankful for the little things.
Cool.
Yep. So we have our rotating annual Thanksgiving dinner. So what we do is all of our classes, we don't really come together in a single group, but we all are doing the same thing. We have 4 areas. We have a dinner area, a game story area, game
So there's game.
game
there's-
song area,
Yeah.
a skit area and a story area.
It ends up turning into more of just songs because games get so chaotic when you have that many kids.
So the kids just rotate from section to section, kind of like VBS, throughout there, and we extend it for 2 hours, and then we serve a big Thanksgiving dinner. But it's a good time. So that's coming up on the 24th.
That's always a fun time.
Yeah.
Excited. We did it. Me and Talia did it last year, and I forget how drastically different it is from the 5 to 9 year old class to the toddler class. So we had like Father Abraham or I'm in the Lord's Army, like little songs, and I was like, okay, toddlers will understand this. I played it for them, and they just stared at me or started crying. And I was like, okay, so then
you need like the birdie.
so Liz got up and she was like, that's what the song she started singing.
That's their favorite song.
The birdie, and all the kids were like,
Thank you.
So just ask the toddler teachers what songs to
Well,
play.
we've already altered it.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
The one-
because
yeah, the-
toddlers can't stand
Apparently-
the length of time we did
apparently
songs.
the song that we should have just chosen is In Jesus' Name, because apparently all of them know that.
That's awesome.
So in super class, we were on lesson 6.
Yeah, we just did 6.
And it was about the.
It's
help
about the baptism.
But yes, so we just went through the plan of salvation, repentance, baptism in Jesus' name, and next week is receiving the gift of the Holy Ghost. And so we're not going to go through all of it by any means, but Sarah Booker ended it.
Oh, she's
and
so
the
good.
problem is that since 3 of us from here are writing the curriculum, a lot of times we're using stuff that we have used in class. In fact, most of the time, because it's you use what you know, and that's the whole point. And so that particular lesson was one that we had used not too long ago in front of the same kids that were teaching a second time. So she said, Sarah, she said, is it okay to tweak it where it's not recognizable? I said, of course.
Please do.
Yeah, and so she did a really, really good job. So
it was so good. Like,
on paper, it's the one with the dissolving paper or the Hank the Hanky. You can do one of those two. And she did it totally different. She cut out hearts out of cloth.
Okay, I saw random cloth hearts just laying all over Sunday school, and I was so confused.
And so that she had them all assigned to different things. So she had one for each teacher. She had one for different people in the Bible, King David and Abraham, and how all of us have sinned. All of us have done things. And so she'd take that bottle of sin, iodine, and squirt it all over them, and then put them in the bowl. Now this bowl didn't have the sodium sulfite in it, and so it would really stain the water, and it looked really disgusting. It talked about how we're all in sin, and anyway, how
she went from the story of creation down to us.
that's right.
Now.
She started at
it was
creation through the
so
Bible.
good.
Did a great job, and then at the end she brought it down to us, and she said, "This one," and she held it up. She said, "This is Brother Phillip." She said, "But he's never sinned, right?" And the kid's like, "No." She's like, "Yes, he has." I'm like, I have.
Yeah.
And she put the sin on, and the kid's like, "Oh my goodness."
They really did react.
They're all looking at you like,
Really
how
did.
could you?
Yeah. And so she did that for every single teacher. And then she said, "What about this one? You." And it's them. And so they're like,
Like she wrote "you" on the heart.
Yeah. And so she squirted on there. And then she put them all in that stained water, and all the kids, and then she one by one baptized each of the hearts. Well, one of the kids screams out, "What about me?" Because everybody was baptized but you. The one that said you. And he's like, "What about me?" And I don't know if it was the kid that was really praying in the altar or not.
But that's another example of like bringing it down to the kids, where like you relate it to people they personally know versus people in the Bible. A lot of times they can still connect with it, but sometimes it helps it bring it down to a personal level of like these people that you look up to that you think are like perfect.
Yep.
They're really not.
But at the end, there was a little boy, and I don't even know his name or what bus route he comes on, but he's very young, and you can tell he has very little background in church.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there on the stage facing like where the audience would be. Most of the people were already gone. And he's just sobbing his eyes out. His hands are up. He's praying, but you can tell he has no idea what he's feeling. You're trying to walk him through that and pray with him. So he's, he wasn't scared, but you could tell it was just very unknown. He had no idea what he was experiencing. I'm trying to walk him through it. That's God, just showing you how much He loves you.
And that's what it's all about, like just to see something like that.
But how long did he pray?
Oh, I see. I saw.
He was there for at least 10 minutes, like 10,
goodness, it was
15
so
minutes.
sweet.
He's from Blue.
Is he?
And he would have got the Holy Ghost in a heartbeat if he had just just let it go. But you could tell but it was a great test. He did not get the Holy Ghost, but
Not
he
yet.
just wasn't letting it go. But now he's experienced it. I believe he's going to feel it again. But it was a really neat Sunday. So.
Wait for Sunday when we talk about the Holy Ghost.
Oh, that's exactly right.
Ooh, I believe it.
Come on
That's
now.
so cool.
So this next Sunday, I'm actually in the girls' class the first 30 minutes, and the
Yes.
last 30 minutes, I'm going to be coming back in the super class. So.
Cool.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yep. Well, it has been 54 minutes, and we
Wow.
appreciate you guys
Shorter
hanging
than-
with us.
Shorter than an hour. We did it.
Yay!
We're so good at
I think
everything.
we can talk for about 7 more minutes.
Oh, I have no doubt that we could.
Do they want to hear it though?
no.
They will clock out at.
And as you guys can tell, this is raw. It's unfiltered. We just talk, and so there's not really a
Yes.
script we're going off of, as you can tell.
We're very organized
Yes.
naturally.
It's probably a little disjointed, but we're no experts at this thing. We never claim to be. But we do feel very passionate about this. Children's ministry for us is something very real and something that we love a lot. And so
Yes.
thank you guys for joining us. If you have any recommendations on what we should talk about, send us an email, info@apostolicsundaySchool.com.
So we don't ramble the entire time.
Yeah.
Unless you're into that.
Till then, God bless, and we will see you all next time.
Bye.